It's the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
This is Kyle Hyman, and joining us to talk about a great organization here in Fort Wayne, A Mother's Hope, been open since October, is Stasia Roth. Thanks for being here, Stasia.
Thank you for having me.
So, Mother's Hope opened in October, just this October, 2018. What is the mission of A Mother's Hope?
The mission of A Mother's Hope is to be a refuge for homeless pregnant women that strengthens their opportunities for stability.
Mm-hmm. And what made you either interested in this or saw the need for it in the first place?
Sure. It's actually been about 6 years this spring. It was actually a call that God placed in my heart. It wasn't something I ever considered or something I was even thinking about. This is something that he wanted in Fort Wayne. I definitely fought him on it for a while because I thought he had to be kidding to ask me to do this. But it was definitely something that he wanted here. And just the love that he has for these women that we're serving is just, I'm in awe of it every day.
Why were you fighting it, or what do you think?
Because it was a lot of work.
Okay, sure.
It was a lot of work and a lot of a lot of people, not just me. And it's a lot to create something from nothing.
Yeah.
But gratefully, he guided me and the other people that were involved every step of the way. And I've said from the beginning, it truly is his project. It always has been.
Did you know how much work it was going to be when you first started getting the balls rolling?
You know, it's funny. No, I didn't really know what all it was going to entail, but he's really hard to tell no. He's very persistent. He wouldn't give up on what he wanted, and he stuck with it. But honestly, I have to say this. When I say, oh, I'm going to work or something like that, it doesn't feel like work because I love it so much. And it's definitely what I was created to do. I know that sounds silly, but it's kind of funny when you figure that out and then you know every day this is what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the situation of homelessness in Indiana right now?
Sure. Well, last year in 2017, there were 119 women who contacted our local call center, the 211 call number, that were seeking shelter in Allen County and then 19 surrounding counties.
Oh, wow.
So it's 117 women that contacted them looking for shelter. So it's a lot. And we can house up to 8, which I realize there's a big discrepancy between the number 8 and the number 117.
Yeah.
But not all women will be perfectly suited for our program.
Sure.
Mother's Hope is a maternity home. It's not just a shelter.
Right.
And so we are a program. All the women who come to us, we have different areas that we focus on and things that they are asked to do to stay in the home and to be a part of A Mother's Hope.
So walk me through the steps leading up to the opening.
Sure.
Was everything on schedule? Did everything go as planned? Were there some hiccups? What was the...
Nothing ever seems to go scheduled as planned. I think that's because I get it in my head of what I think it's going to look like, and then I was wrong.
Yeah.
So we actually had originally hoped to open sometime in the spring. But, it's funny. I look back and think that wasn't what it was supposed to be at all. I think we opened right when we were supposed to. We opened on October 1st and started taking applications, and then we had our first resident actually join us on October 15th.
Oh, wow.
And looking back, it took a while to hire staff, to hire the right staff, to get the right people in place that had that perfect combination of compassion and love, but also able to provide structure for these women, a structure they may never have experienced before. And so hiring the right staff took a little bit longer. We also wanted to make sure we had a solid funding base in place before we opened. It would have been a tragedy to open and then have to close our doors through lack of funding. So we didn't want to open and not have the backing of the community. And also, renovations take twice as long as what you think they will.
Yeah.
And that's true when people say that. And so we did renovate a property that was given to us by the Mary Cross Tippman Foundation. They allowed us to rent that property from them. And we had to tweak a few things to prepare it to house these moms. And I have to say, I'm grateful for so many in the community that stepped up. We hardly had to invest any of our donors and supporters' money into the renovation. It was mainly covered by the community, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you have people that are applying to be residents. Mm-hmm. How many applications come in initially?
That's a great number or great question. I think we have 5 moms currently living at a Mother's Hope and 2 babies. I think applications, we've probably had about 15 or so actual applications that got through to the application process.
Okay.
We've had some that right off the bat we knew weren't a good fit, and we could refer them on to somewhere else that would be a better fit for them. Maybe if somebody was actively experiencing domestic violence and they were fleeing domestic violence, they need to be safe. And a Mother's Hope has security, but not to the point where we could keep them safe and other staff and other moms. So we would refer them elsewhere, like to the Y. And then in some other situations, we can only take women who do not have any other children in their custody.
Okay.
That's always a tough one for me as a mom. It's hard to say you can't have your other kids with you, but it's just the way our program is initially set up.
Sure. So then you accepted 5 people, and you said 2 babies?
2 babies.
Okay.
Yeah, we had our first mom come in October 15th, and we had our first baby born November 10th.
Yeah, so what was that like?
It was fast. But it's amazing hearing baby cries in the house. I think, to me, that is the most beautiful sound ever. All of the women that are currently staying with us are all first-time mothers. So when the baby cries, they tend to all rush to both of them, whereas I just love hearing the baby cries. It's beautiful.
So what is that community like? Like you mentioned all of these mothers rushing to a crying baby. Is it like kind of almost co-parenting kind of a thing, or?
Well, we have some different things in place as far as just to make sure the safety of the babies is, and the mothers is first and foremost. So if a mother chooses to, she can actually, we have a form that she can sign that she can allow one of the other mothers to babysit or to help her out, just to make sure that one mom doesn't come back on another mom, just keeping their safety in place. But they all just get concerned if there's a baby crying. Like, what do we do? What do we do? And they give me a hard time because they say, you just pick them up and flop them around and you're fine. And we're so careful. We're afraid we're going to break them. And so it's just really neat to get to model that behavior for each of those moms and show them, how to hold the baby and it's important to hold them and love on them and, how to change a diaper.
Yeah.
We dealt with some diaper rash a couple weeks ago, teaching them how to do that. Just the most simplest of things that they may not know how to do. We can model that and show them how to do that.
We're talking with Stasia Roth about A Mother's Hope. You can find them at amothersHopeFW.org. And where would these women be if A Mother's Hope wasn't there? I mean, what do you do if you're homeless and pregnant?
We're not the only place in Fort Wayne that will accept these women, but we are the only place that has a program uniquely designed to serve them.
Yeah.
So if they are pregnant and homeless before A Mother's Hope, they could look into some of our area shelters that are wonderful, like Kara's House. We do have an emergency shelter of Just Neighbors, and Vincent Village. And those were the 3 that we found that they were most likely to be going unless they had an addiction or something like that together with the pregnancy. But what we found is those shelters are doing such an amazing job of serving the community that they are often full. A Mother's Hope will be no different. I'm sure that we will be full soon as well. But we just take those 8 women at one time and we can really do a lot of intensive services because we only have 8. And so the impact is so much greater. And it's not just 8, it's really 16 because you consider the babies as well. And so a lot of the moms that we are serving have so many needs, from the mental health needs to the just life skills are a big one. We've had some mothers come to us from different situations, but some of the moms we serve will come right off the street and come right into A Mother's Hope. And that's a big change, a big life change. And then being a parent all at the same time, it's a lot. It's a lot for all of us the first time we have that first baby and kind of, they don't come with that instruction manual. And so we really want to be able to provide as much as we can for these moms. And often that includes referring them to community resources as well. We also have a counselor that comes right into A Mother's Hope and provides counseling on site, so they don't even have to leave to receive those services.
Yeah. So how is all this funded?
We have private funding, and we also have grants. We also have I can't say enough about all the supporters and donors that we have at A Mother's Hope. They have been just amazing, and we couldn't do it without all of them. And many of those I know are your listeners, so thank you all out there who have supported A Mother's Hope as we were working towards opening and then now actually housing those moms and those babies. We've looked into some state funding as well that we'll be eligible for next year.
Okay. And then I understand you also have a matching grant happening?
Do. So right now, kind of end of the year, we have a $25,000 matching grant through a very wonderful donor who prefers to remain anonymous. And we have that, and we only have it for the rest of this week. So it's a quick thing here that we received at the end of the year, and we're really excited because that $25,000, it really turns into $50,000. And that's a lot of money for a small organization like ours. We can do so much with that money. And so we have two ways to donate. You can donate online at the website, like you said, mothershopefw.org, or also you can send it into our P.O. box.
Okay. And what are some of the other needs as far as supplies, or do you need volunteers for different projects or counseling or things like that?
Right. So we have a volunteer coordinator, Maria Nancaro. She is a rock star. I'm so grateful for her and all that she has been able to do that has taken some things off of my plate. So I'm so grateful for her. But all of our volunteers go through her. We have some volunteers who are kind of a different level of volunteers. So we have volunteers that can just help out around the house. We have volunteers that go through quite a bit of extensive background checks and things like that then can help out, say, driving the women who stay at A Mother's Hope maybe to their doctor's appointments or things like that, really be a one-on-one support for them. So it just, we have different opportunities. As far as supplies, I know that we have several different groups collecting things for us at A Mother's Hope, and even my son's school, Our Lady of Good Hope, Our Lady School, is doing a drive for us right now, and it's just been amazing, the different things. We need everything a house needs. The things we probably go through the most are toilet paper and paper towels.
Yeah.
We also go through soap and laundry detergent and all those types of things. So anytime, if you're interested, if there's something that you'd like to donate or be a part of, you can always contact us and see what our immediate needs are. Then we make sure we're always getting exactly what we need at that time.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking here, I just got a text from my wife. She said, we have to donate to A Mother's Hope. So expect that coming in soon.
Wonderful. Thank you.
What is the end goal for these women? They can't stay there forever. You've only got 8 places in the house. So at what point you say, okay, we have to send you back into the world, and what are you hoping that they'll be able to do?
Sure. So for each woman, that definitely will look different. Each woman comes in with her own unique situation, and so we are looking at where she's coming from, what her skills already are, and how we can build upon that. For some women, it will look like they go into their own home, and maybe they get an apartment and start small or something like that. For other women, it will look like maybe they transition over to Vincent Village and they start in their phase 2 program. It really depends on each woman and what her capabilities are. They do have a maximum of they can only remain at A Mother's Hope for up to a year after the birth of the baby. Most women will not want to be there that long. Our program is fairly intensive. We require a lot of them each week, and so many of them will want to be looking towards where am I going afterwards. And we start that process with them very early on of what's your goals. Every week, each mom creates her action plan of what she's looking at in each program area, and shelter is a large part of that. So we know they needed shelter, so where are they going to go after?
All right. Well, again, check out mothershopefw.org and help out in any way you can. Thank you so much, Stasia, for sharing this with us and for the good work that you're doing. It's so awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Also, check out Hannah's House if you're up in the South Bend area. They're doing great work as well. Our thanks to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting this show and for their support. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Until then, remember to leave room for the Holy Spirit.